Logiche neurali.
Gli eventi raccontati dall'intelligenza artificiale. Trump's anti-immigration agents are raiding churches and hospitals in California, terrorizing migrants. The agents are conducting raids in churches and hospitals across California, causing fear among undocumented migrants. Bishop Alberto Rojas of San Bernardino granted his parishioners a dispensa from Sunday Mass, as many fear being arrested while attending church. Rojas reported that some of his parishioners were taken by agents during Mass. These raids are crippling migrant communities, living in a state of uncertainty and tension. Hospitals and churches, places of safety and refuge, are now targets of control operations, increasing fear and anxiety among undocumented individuals. Their lives have become a series of suspended moments where each day could be different. The situation is a testament to the growing tension and psychological impact of U.S. immigration policy. Trump attacks Lula to boost Bolsonaro. The desire for a right-wing government to curb China's advance. Trump announced 50% tariffs on all Brazilian exports to the United States, a measure that significantly impacted relations between the two countries. This attack fits into a context of political tensions, with Trump aiming to strengthen Bolsonaro's position, the Brazilian president, through a right-wing government. The goal is to slow down China's economic expansion in Brazil, which is seen as a threat to U.S. interests. The attack on Lula, leader of the Workers' Party, therefore has a dual purpose: supporting Bolsonaro and countering China's influence in the country. The escalation of Trump's attacks on Lula represents a key moment in international politics, with implications for Brazil-U.S. relations. The genocide of Srebrenica is still an open wound in the heart of Europe. The genocide of Srebrenica, which occurred in 1995, represents the most severe massacre in Europe after World War II. The UN established the International Day of Reflection and Commemoration on July 11 to remember the events. Between July 6 and July 25 of that year, thousands of Bosniak men were killed by Serb Bosniak forces under the command of General Ratko Mladic. This event is considered an open wound in the heart of Europe, a painful memory that continues to influence the region and relations between peoples. The article highlights the importance of remembering and reflecting on this tragedy to better understand the past and prevent future conflicts. Gaza is a new Srebrenica multiplied by 10, a massacre under the eyes of the UN. Gaza is described as a new Srebrenica multiplied by 10, a massacre taking place under the eyes of the UN. The article recalls that the United Nations exists for 80 years, and that July 11th is the International Day of Commemoration for the victims of Srebrenica, established last year. The UN has the duty to protect civilians, but in Gaza, an endless humanitarian disaster is observed with thousands of victims. The article highlights how, despite resolutions and attempts at intervention, the situation worsens. The UN, despite its capabilities, fails to stop the conflict, which involves millions of people. The description of Gaza as a new Srebrenica is a way to underline the gravity and the lack of responses from international institutions. European leaders aim to mobilize the continent for war against Russia. Lavrov. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov criticized European leadership, arguing that recent statements and actions by Berlin, Paris, and London show that the current generation of politicians in these and other countries have forgotten the lessons of history. According to Lavrov, this stance could lead to war against Russia. The article highlights the growing tension between Europe and Russia, with European leadership appearing to take a more aggressive stance. Lavrov expressed concern over decisions made by some European countries, which he believes may be influenced by political and economic interests rather than a global understanding of the situation. The article underscores how Russia perceives a hostile attitude from Europe, which could lead to direct confrontation. War crimes committed by Israel in Iran have brought the situation to the breaking point. An Iranian ambassador has denounced the war crimes committed by Israel in Iran. Qasem Jalali has emphasized that Iran has never abandoned the negotiation table and remains committed to diplomacy. The event has reignited tensions between the two countries, with mutual accusations and threats of further escalation. The ambassador has emphasized Iran's commitment to maintaining dialogue and seeking a peaceful solution, despite growing tensions. The incident has raised international concerns, with worries about regional and global security. Iran has expressed determination to defend its interests and respond to hostile actions, while Israel has supported its security aims. The situation remains critical, with the risk of a broader conflict. Attack on civilians waiting for aid in Gaza, bodies on the ground and women's despair. A video shows the moments immediately after an Israeli raid in Deir al-Balah, central Gaza. The attack, which occurred this morning, killed 16 people, including 10 children. The civilians were gathered to receive nutritional supplements for the children. The images, often very graphic, show bodies on the ground and the despair of the women. The event has caused great concern and condemnation. The article was published on Il Fatto Quotidiano. Berlin ignores Europe and invites Unicredit to step back from Commerzbank. Berlin shows little collaboration with Europe, ignoring the European Commission's requests regarding bank mergers. The city has invited Unicredit to withdraw its offer to acquire Commerzbank, indicating a nationalist position and a lack of coordination with European institutions. This signal reinforces the idea that the banking union is not yet a reality and that member countries are still not following common guidelines. The attitude of Berlin seems to be driven by local interests, limiting the role of Europe in the debate on financial mergers. The situation highlights the challenges for full integration among European countries. Paris, London may coordinate their nuclear deterrent forces. Macron, Paris and London may coordinate their nuclear deterrent forces, announced French President Macron. The two countries have agreed to establish a joint control group on nuclear matters, whose task will be the development of cooperation in this sector. This move could represent an important step towards international security and stability, strengthening cooperation between two historical allies. Russia is evaluating including the UK-France nuclear partnership in military plans. Senior diplomat Russia is evaluating including the potential nuclear partnership between the UK and France in its military plans, stated senior diplomat Sergei Ryabkov. Ryabkov emphasized that Moscow cannot ignore the combined potential of these two countries, which are the closest allies of the United States within NATO. The announcement marks another step in the growing tension between Russia and the West, with fears of an intensification of collaboration among Western countries against Russia. Russia may therefore take measures to counter this potential alliance, which could influence military strategy and global security. Russia's stance reflects its concern over the expansion of the Western Bloc and its determination to defend national interests in an increasingly complex geopolitical context.